Okay, so the next stage of our model is to go through a lock process, which means that every member has to be locked down. What this does is this finalises the drawing stage, so we can produce our deliverables as well. It will also allow us to collect data for the database, because at the moment the model that we've got sitting in front of us is a template model. So if we go to our TSD members and go lock member, select the column, and we need to select the connections that are going to come with this, with the bolts that are associated to it. So for this instance, if we zoom in on it, the bolts that come with the column are the base plate bolts, so we're going to select those. There is a code there for BP, for base plate. If we select that, hit the tick, now it'll go through a lockdown process. And what that's doing is it's swapping out sections, it's comparing plates with what's already in the library. It's filling in a bill of materials automatically based on the numbers of the items in the model. And updating the drawings associated to that. Now you can see that that column's done. Also too, we're going to do the opposite column. So we just go around from one member to the next. Members, lock member, select the column, select the base plate, hit your tick. Now before you do that, make sure you do a Control Q and a Control Save. So that'll be comparing plates, swapping out plates. Swaps out the template, updates the bill of materials, and the quantities associated to that, and finalises the drawings for us. So that column is now done. Control Q, Control Save. Okay, let's select the beam up the top. So members, lock member, click the beam. Now this beam has two sets of bolts to which it's going to be sitting on top of the columns. They're the only bolts that come with that beam, and they are cap plates. If you look at these two descriptions here, CP2 and 2, and they highlight as you can see, and then we click the tick and that will lock that beam for us. Okay, now I'm just going to unlock that beam. Lock the member, which you can do. Once you've locked, you can also unlock, which is a beautiful feature of TSD. And it's one thing that I did notice that had popped up in that member. If I go into it, just going to remove all appearances at the top. This plate here should be excluded from the bill of materials, and it is now excluded from the bill of materials. And now we can lock that member again. So now we can lock the member, TSD members, lock the member, select the beam. Now the two cap plates that come with that will be locked, so we pick up the bolts and now we go through the lock process. So it'll update the drawings, update the plates. Okay, so now that beam's done. What you'll also notice if I zoom out, you can see that the common columns for second instances and beams have all been done at the same time, which is really handy. Okay, so now we need to go and do the rest of the beams. A Control Q, Control Save every time we do a lock. Lock member, select the beam at the back. Now this beam's going to have end plate bolts, and it's the only bolts that come with it. So end plate bolts. So if we select that end plate and that end plate, because the others are fin plates, and that's a brace, because with braces, the braces come with the bolts come with the brace, and obviously with the fin plate beams, the bolts come with the fin plate beams because they're bolting into this member. So now we select the tick, and now that will lock that member for us. So we'll update the bill of materials for the plates and the member section, swap out the bill. That's it. And now we lock the next member. Now remember that when you do lock, Control Q, Control S, just before you do it. That way the changes that have occurred are actually captured properly. Now we're selecting the opposite beam, which is going to be that end plate and that end plate, and we're collecting the bolts that come with that beam because it's bolting into the other two beams. So now we're updating the drawings. We'll have to go back to that other drawing and tidy that, and possibly even this one, because that's probably the same drawing. So if we open that up, open the drawing up, then you'll notice that we've got to do a bit of tidy up work in this drawing because it's changed in some way. Do some tidy up work to finish the drawing off. Put that in there, bring those dimensions up to there. That pretty much tidies that drawing. You'll notice there's two, so it's also checked to see if there's two, so it means that plate there and that plate there have been replaced. Okay, so now we're going to lock the braces. Actually the beams, and we'll do the beams first. So we'll just go through one by one. So this beam, and on that beam we've got two fin plates at either end. We need to make sure we get the right fin plates. So the very first two fin plates are generally the ones that come with the beam. Okay, but in this case that's not what's happened. We need to select these two. As you can see, 1 and 2 are already in the order. So if we hit the tick, that'll lock that beam for us. So that's that beam done. So then we go over to the next two beams. Control Q, Control S. And now we lock the other two. Obviously C1, 2, that's those two. Okay, that beam's done. Control Q, Control S. Then we do the next beam. Lock the next beam, and there's only two connections in that one. That beam's now done. Control Q, Control Save. Okay, let's do the next member, which is this beam here. If you zoom around, that one, and the two connections that are associated to that need to be locked, selected, because that's where the bolts are coming with that member to be bolted in place. That one's done. Control Q, Control S. The same thing again for the member on the opposite side, which is this one. select the connections, click a tick. So that member's now done. Alright, let's check the stair drawing and make sure the stair drawing is going to be okay before we lock it, because sometimes the table comes in and takes up quite a considerable amount of information and overlaps on top of your drawing view, so we need to just make sure that we've got enough room up here to move things around. So I'm just going to squash this right over, because I know that through examples of the past it can tend to clash up here in the top. So I'm just going to bring that in really tight, that piece there, I'll bring it out that way, swap that over. Doesn't clash. Okay, so we can save that. Now let's lock the stair. Control Q, Control S. Members lock. Select the stringer. Now all the bolts are associated with the stairs are going to come with the stairs. That includes the 2 bolts at the feet and the 2 bolts up at the stringers on both sides. So we just lock that member. Hiding the dummy components. It's now swapping out the sections. Replacing the plates. If there are any, checking to see if there are any duplicate plates. And putting in a bill of materials for us. And populating all the drawings. All the steel sections and the plate drawings. Okay, so now we've done the stairs. Next thing we need to do is all the bracing. So member lock, remember the Control Q, Control S, select this brace. Now if there are any bolts that are included in this brace, it will automatically count them. Hit my tick, it automatically brings in the bolts. So that brace is done, and there are 2 braces included in that process. Control Q, Control S, lock this member. Because there are no connections, as I said before, the bolts are automatically collected because they're not part of a connection anyway. So let's fix that brace. Now we're going to lock another member. This is the 3rd brace, and we've got 17 sections already locked. If you saw, it's counting the number of sections automatically. Control Q, Control S again, members, and then lock again. Hit the tick. So now essentially we have all the main sections done. They're fully locked. And if we have a look up into our drawings area, you can see which ones are locked and which ones aren't locked on the right hand side. So obviously the handrail needs to be sorted, so that's the next step. So between all this handrailing that we've put in, the only ones that we haven't checked are the top ones, so we need to go through the drawings and make sure that they are finalised. So if you select the top rail, select the member in the feature tree and then open the drawing, you can see that now what's happened is we've had a bit of a change in the size, so we need to make an adjustment. So I'm just going to reduce, 1 to 50, reduce that down so that that's smaller and has lesser impact on the drawing, and just do some tidy up work. Okay, and we've lost that dimension. Go back up and put another one in. Now before we do that, we must add a centre line in on that member. Now put the dimension in. sets out the stanchion from there to there. And we're just going to put in a couple of swaps here for the locations of the top and for the marking. Okay, so that updates that drawing. We'll just move that node over so that's in the middle now. And these pieces look like they've lost their links, so I'm just going to fix those up as well. Obviously if I select that, put a center line in, select that, put a center line in, and just tidy up this because there's a center line running through the middle there. If I select that, and select that, put another dimension in there from there to there, and another dimension from there to there. We can set that up there, and from there to there. So you can see that that's 300 as well. Now that fixes that handrail. Now these handrails can be identical to one another. You could remove this handrail and then put the second one in, but we're going to treat them as separate because it might be a different connection someday at that point, so we'll treat them as separate individual ones. So now I'm going to draw it up, do the same process again. Use custom 50 on the scale, fix that up there. Okay, and now we go over to this one, just remove that dimension and just do a rebuild. Okay, so this one doesn't look like it's lost its links. There is a 295 there, which is incorrect. And if I select that, and select that, and select that, move that out the road, move that out the road, and that out the road. Tidy that up. Tidy the kick plate. Add some extra dimensions, from there to there, 300, from there to there, and from there to there. Okay, now we've done that, move that node over, and that's that handrail done. Let's check out this one. So the next one is to open that up, same thing again, 1 to 50. Process again by the looks of it, from there to there, from there to there, and move that node. So we put in an annotation, sketch center line, so select that member, that member, that member, that member, and that member, and that 295 is incorrect. Dimension in, from there to there, and from there to there, and it looks like that's now lost its link, so we'll put that back in again, from there to there to there, and then we'll put this one in, from there to there, and now we can move that over to there. Okay, so that's that one done, and then we go over to the next one, select the kick plate, and the main member, and then open up the drawing. Now this one's a bit bigger, there's a bit more work involved in it. Okay, so we need to customise that, 1 to 50. So I'll bring the handrail down a little bit. Probably need to position it by grabbing the view over the top, grab the note, and now we've got to remove some of these dimensions that we've got in place. And bring these notes over so that they're in the middle. Select the annotation, we use center lines on, oops, just going to make sure you get right in the middle of the tubing. Okay, and obviously at the end as well. And we put some dimensions in. From there to there. From there to there. And from there to there. Should pretty much do that handrail. Obviously the note is hanging out off the side there, so I'll just bring that in a little bit. And there's an overlay there. Okay, so that tidies that drawing up. So now we just finalise the whole lot of the drawings in one go here, because we've already checked the handrail around here. So we're now just going to go through a process of lockdown again on the handrails. So we select the handrail lockdown. There's no bolts. The bolts actually come included with the stanchions in Australia, so that when you order a stanchion, 2 bolts are allocated to the stanchion. So we don't model them or put them in. So that one's done. Go to the next one. Control Q, Control S for save. Lock the next one. So we might as well just go around the outside and work our way down. That one's done. Q, Control save. Members. And then lock member on this one. That one's done. Control Q, Control S. Lock member again. And you'll notice that I'm selecting any rail or any kick plate that's associated to the handrail. It automatically grabs the subassembly parent and knows which one to start the whole process on. That's that handrail. And the same thing for this handrail. So lock that member. And we want these two. Select that rail. So let's put in a bill of materials. And you'll notice that some of the handrail there probably will need some work in the drawings. Go back to the Control Q, Control S again. TSD members, lock member, and we'll do the last handrail. And that locks everything that is structural inside the model that we've just completed. Okay, so there's a fully locked structural model. Good thing about locking is that if an engineer comes along, or an architect or a designer needs to make a change, you can unlock, just as simple as lock. That concludes locking.